Hello and welcome back. This is Christopher Aaron. This is a special Thursday morning broadcast. I want to do a silver price update because it has been a while since we've looked at how this potential breakout is going in the price of silver. So we will look at that in just a moment. I actually want to do this in a different format. I'm going to show you my live charting system here, and we'll just do it in real time as I'm analyzing the chart, so you can kind of look over my shoulder as to what I am looking at. Let me know in the comments, how do you like this type of broadcast where it's a little bit quicker, a little bit less formal, and just show you what I'm seeing. Before we get into it, make sure you hit the red subscribe button and the bell icon so you'll be notified when these videos come out. And make sure to follow our account on Twitter, iGlobalGold. Sometimes I don't have a chance to post videos every single week, but I make quicker updates on Twitter sometimes. And let us begin. And briefly, please make note of the legal disclaimer, and then we'll move into the charts. Okay, so this is a live view of my charting system. We are looking at the 5-minute time scale here, and so we could see bit of a sell-off here over the last 2 days. They're smacking silver this morning as we speak. So, negative price action here over the short run. So what I like to do is zoom all the way out on times like this. Let's switch from the 5-minute, in case this is new to you. We're talking every single one of these little dots or lines in here represents 5 minutes worth of price action. So now we're going to zoom it all the way out, where every single line represents 1 week worth of price action. So this takes us all the way back to the 2003 through present time. And what I want to focus on, so remember, we don't have the color key up here because I usually do all that in another system. Like I said, I'm showing you the live charting system that I use right now, the raw data. So remember that the blue lines are the ones that we are primarily focused on. These are our primary trends. So for example, right here, if I zoom in on the last year and a half, these blue lines right here from the most recent peak above 30 through the secondary peak that was broken, we're focused on the price action around the blue lines as the primary trends. Zoom back out. The turquoise lines represent broken trends, and although, yes, technically these are broken trends that we're looking at, I have left this in blue because these are the ones that we want to focus on for the purpose of this video. So blue is what we're focusing on. Turquoise are previous trends that we've discussed at other points. So when we look in again at the primary structure here, let's go back and compare this breakout here above the primary downward structure to the previous time that this happened. So we'll have to zoom it out and go back to this structure right here, this more wedge-shaped bottoming structure. And by the way, back here in 2015 is when I got interested in silver again, because we were in this wedge. You can see that in the blue. These wedges are often these bottoming patterns. And so I remember, I literally remember recording the video as we zoom in on this wedge back in February of 2016. The breakout from this bottoming wedge was a huge signal that the precious metals were changing direction. However, it's easy to get sort of caught in just looking at this and saying, oh yeah, clearly, there was a bottom setting up and then we had this surge. But actually, if we pause and zoom into the price action right after the breakout, so look at this. Okay, here's that 3-year downtrend, the final part of the downtrend in silver. February of 2016. Here's the breakout. Now remember, these are weekly candlesticks. So look at what happened after the actual breakout. We had in silver, so the breakout week followed by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 weeks. So it was on the 9th week that silver made a new high above the breakout week peak right there. And if I had to measure these, let's say, so that was 1593 was the peak from the breakout week right here. And so it took 9 weeks for silver to exceed that on a closing weekly basis. 9 weeks. So it certainly wasn't a straight line higher after silver broke out, right? 9 weeks of consolidation. Now, let's go, and of course, after that move, silver continued up toward 18, back off, and then the move up to 21.25. And remember, a lot of the silver miners rose 300, 400, 500% in this kind of move. Now, remember this, 9 weeks of consolidation after the actual breakout from this last downward primary trend. Let's move to the present. Okay, zoom it in, center it. Here's the current structure. Okay, now zoom it in further. Now, here was the breakout week back in February. Very interesting. Downward trend, primary downward trends breaking in February. 2016, 2022, 6 years later. Very interesting. February breakout. Zoom it in even further so we can count. Here's the breakout week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is only the 7th week following the break of the primary downtrend. Whereas back in 2016, it consolidated in here for 9 weeks. So, listen, silver market's not going to repeat perfectly every single time, but there's some very interesting coincidences happening here. February break of a primary downward trend, February break of a primary downward trend, 9 weeks of consolidation. So far, 7 weeks. We're in week number 7. So if this is going to repeat, if it's going to be perfect, it's going to be the first week in May that we exceed this peak right in here, this 26.95 or so. So let's watch for it. Thus far, when I look at this, when I zoom in here and look at this type of price action here, we can see clearly the market is respecting this broken trend. It's you had a couple of weeks here where it's dipped down below intra-week, even a nominal weekly close below the trend, but quickly reversing the following couple of weeks. So clearly the market is respecting this broken trend, and it's doing basically the most conservative thing that you can do after you break a primary downward trend. We're talking a year and 3-month downward trend here, which is to just kind of bump and grind on the opposite side of the trend. Once again, very similar to what happened in there, right? 9 weeks. So here we are, big picture, focusing on the big picture again. Bit of an ugly day today. Let's see how the support is going to come in, and let's define the support for the weekly close here. We would be looking for prices to hold above $24.40 this week. That would be the level that keeps upward progress still looking reasonable over the intermediate term. And anything aside from that keeps the silver chart constructive in my playbook. And then we have to take a look at what type of upward trajectory we are getting after we see these anticipated weeks of consolidation. We start to get weekly closes below 24.40, which I would not predict at this point. I'm going to stick with what the charts are telling me, which is that this is now support. But if we were to fail at support, we reanalyze the charts and we look at what other sort of scenario is setting up. Silver, still constructive at this time until further notice. Guys, remember the last video that we did on the undervalued state of the gold and silver miners? That assumes current silver prices and current gold prices. We looked at how a lot of these miners are undervalued on a magnitude of 5 to 1 compared to where the gold price is and the silver price is. And that assumes that the metals themselves do not move any higher from where they are today. So I do think the metals will be moving higher, and it would be good for the metals to move higher. But remember, we don't need the metals to move higher necessarily for that reversion to the mean to happen. And so I just want to let you know, if you're interested in joining us in either of the two services that we offer, for open market precious metals, miners, and all of the analysis that we're using on those markets here, the service for you is called Precious Metals Intelligence. We produce weekly videos such as what you're seeing right now, just much more in-depth, covering not only silver, but gold, the US dollar, stock market, rest of the commodities sector, and as I said, the specific miners that we are buying and selling. If you would like to achieve the highest amount of leverage with us, the service that we are offering is called Elite Private Placements. This is for higher net worth investors. You need to have the ability, generally speaking, you need to have the ability to invest $10,000 at a time into at least 5 of these investments in order for this to be worth the reward to risk spectrum that you need to satisfy. And with that elite private placements, remember the way that we achieve almost twice the upside compared to the open market buy and sell signals is with the free warrants. When you get those warrants for free, they double the number of shares that you can purchase, typically speaking, at a set price for no additional risk, other than the fact that you have to hold the investments for about 4 months, which is what we do anyway, so that's really not an additional risk in my mind. But that is the service called Elite Private Placements, where we go for that additional upside with the free warrants. If you would like to speak to me one-on-one, please know you can reach me by the Consultations tab. You can book half an hour or an hour. We sit down, we discuss your situation, just as we talk here in these videos, but it's myself, personalized with you. We go over whether you're new to physical gold and silver and looking to just make sure you don't get taken advantage of from any of the dealerships. There are some very good dealerships out there. There are some that are not so good. I do not work for any of them. I work for you to try to bring you accurate, reliable information and analysis. So you don't have to worry that I'm taking fees or kickbacks from any of these companies. That is not my business model. If you have a large portfolio, you're looking to diversify into, a portion of that into the precious metals, and you would like my analysis and feedback on your situation, I'm happy to provide that for you. So silver is holding above the key support as we are speaking. Remember, it's in week 7 right now. The last time we saw this type of pattern, it was 9 weeks. There are no guarantees in the markets. There are no guarantees in life, with exception of perhaps 1 or 2 things that we might be able to think of. But aside from that, nothing is guaranteed in this world. However, those patterns look quite similar. It's actually kind of shocking to see those breakouts in February of each year, wouldn't you say? 6 years apart, and now we're 7 weeks into this thing. So let us watch.